and welcome to my channel, Growing, Glowing and Going. It is after work on a Wednesday evening and I really just want to sit on the sofa and have a bit of a nap, but I am well overdue tidying up my garden. It's currently the first week of June. I have not done my Chelsea chop yet. Okay, that probably is not as horrifying as it seems to me to most normal people. I will explain a little bit later what exactly a Chelsea chop is and why it's late that I'm doing it right now. I'm currently in my back garden, which I see every day, so I tend to just do a little bit of tidying up here and there. The vibe I want from this is overgrown jungle, and it's very much getting that way, so I'm really pleased with it. But I have a more cottage style garden on the outside of my house, which I have talked about before on this channel, so I'll link that video from Easter. So that is what we are going to go and tidy up today. It's also quite windy today, so I am trying out my new microphone, so fingers crossed the sound is okay, but if it's not how it normally sounds, I'm really sorry, and hopefully we can work on that. Okay, this is my house and this is what we're working with. The wisteria has stopped blooming for a few weeks now. I don't think I'm going to tackle that today because that is a huge job, but it is so worth it because I really chopped it back last year and it bloomed beautifully this year. So I will get it done. Maybe not today, but it will get done. I have a cat mint going absolutely wild by the front door, so that definitely needs to be chopped back. But all the local cats love it, so I don't want to chop it back too much. And case in point, here we have a local cat coming to see his cat mint. Hello, Marcel. No, the dreamies are inside, I'm sorry, but you can eat the cat mint. We have lavender ready to bloom, sedum ready to bloom. I am not going to touch either of those today. The honeysuckle, I have to chop back every single year, but as it just goes bald at the bottom, but it definitely needs tidying up a little bit. Another cat mint, another one going crazy. I love these bear's breeches so much. I got them from the Tatton Flower show quite a few years ago now, and I moved them from an old house to here. It has gone enormous. I don't think I can chop it back, but I might take back some of the lower leaves just to give the plants below a little bit of room. More sedum, a lovely pink rose, which I don't think I've seen before. It's definitely from the previous owner, but yeah, I've not seen that one before. Perennial sweet peas. I actually really don't like these and I pull them up. I used to have loads more than this, but they don't look or smell as nice as sweet peas. The annual ones do. They just grow enormous, cover up everything else. So I've been pulling them up and giving them to my mum to plant in her garden. The verbena I will just leave, but we have some dandelions here and there. Astrantia is looking really cute. I moved this last year, maybe the year before, and it didn't do very well last year, but as you can see, the flowers are looking so cute this year. Another huge bear's breeches, but behind we have a white climbing rose, which again, the previous owner planted. I love it, but it gets totally drowned out by the wisteria. So it might have to be done the day I do the wisteria, but I will definitely be trying to preserve those roses. I planted a grapevine maybe early last year. Coming on really well now, so just need to tidy that up a bit and get the wisteria out from around it and tie it in a little bit better. I don't actually remember what these are, but they're cute and this little bee loves them. He's back. Local lad. Another rose from the previous owner. I think she was a real rose lover. I mean, I am too. But yeah, I think there's about 4 or 5 that she's planted, and this one I had to really chop back hard, and it's still actually got quite a lot of black spots, so I will just be going around and taking some of the black spot off and maybe doing a bit of deadheading. Would you like to talk us through this final corner, Marcel? I think at this point of the year I'm going to be leaving this final corner. The sedum's yet to come through, the foxgloves haven't gone over quite yet. I trimmed back the Himalayan honeysuckle in April. Another rose, a real neon pink one this time. again, I'm just going to chop some of the black spot off that and tidy it up. I kind of feel like something needs planting here. I feel like there was something there and it's died, or I've ripped it up or chopped it back. So I will have a little think about what goes there. Oh, just a quick one. I planted this peony the first spring that we moved in, and I think this is the first year it's actually bloomed, and I've had one full bloom from it. So hopefully that is boding well for next year, and I will have a bush full of peonies then. All right, gardening kit check. Secateurs, short loppers, boxing to put bits and bobs in. Most importantly, green bin. So earlier I used the terms Chelsea chop and deadhead, and whilst both of them are just chopping flowers off, they both are slightly different. So I will briefly explain them to you and then show you the difference. Sorry, I'm wielding my secateurs like they're a weapon here, so I'll put them down. A Chelsea chop is so named after the Chelsea Flower Show because around the time of the Chelsea Flower Show, which is at the end of May, where flowers tend to grow a lot because of the change in light levels, because of the change in the weather, flowers can easily just burn themselves out, in a really simple way of saying, and they will often start going to seed as well. When they're flowered and the weather starts getting hotter, they'll want to go to seed, which uses a lot of energy, and you may not get flowers again. So what people tend to do is certain types of flowers, we chop them down by about 2/3 around this time of year. It's actually quite late for me. Girl's been busy. Just to give them the energy to be able to flower again a little bit later in the year. Some might just flower almost straight away again. So Chelsea chopping is for flowers that are floriferous, that word, that flower a lot. So I'll show you the difference between what I'm going to Chelsea chop and what I'm going to deadhead. Deadheading is for when there are slightly fewer flowers, like a rose. It takes a lot of time to make one big bud, one big flower, and you tend to dead them just as the flower is going over and it starts turning into a seed head. Because again, the whole purpose of a flower is to be pollinated, so it can then turn into a seed and it can turn into a new plant. That's great, but we as gardeners... Tripod fell over, sorry, did I mention it's windy today? We as gardeners don't really want that, because then we won't get any more flowers, because the plant has done its job, it's made its seed. So what we do is... happened again, I'm using a bin as a tripod. So what we do, I've totally lost my train of thought now. We deadhead so that the flowers will come again and attempt to make the seed again. So the plant does not waste its energy trying to make seeds. Now I'll show you the difference between those two things and start to show you the difference between which types of plants and flowers will do that. I've just taken my phone off the tripod just to show you the setup, but yeah, it was always going to happen, wasn't it? Okay, it's a little bit later because my phone ran out of battery. So I've done some of the tidying I said I would do. I've tidied up the bed's britches and given some air and light to whatever is underneath there. It's probably a bit too late for it. But anyway, looks a bit smarter. I thought I would start off by telling you which plants I definitely will not be deadheading. And the first one is this lavender, because it will only flower once in a season. If you chop the flowers off now, it will not flower at all. And I love lavender flowers, so I will definitely be letting that flower. I've seen that people Chelsea chop sedum. I never have, because it's never properly flowered by May. So I'm not really sure what to do there, but I'm not really sure why people or how people do it, but yeah, I will not be. Bear's Britches is another one that will only flower once in a season, so I'm not chopping these off. How cool are these though? They're mega. They're actually really spiky. So gotta be careful of those, but they're really cool. Any bulbs, do not chop those or deadhead them until they have gone over. So once they've gone over and the leaves are starting to fall off, if you chop the flower off, that is actually a really good thing, because the goodness will go into the foliage and go back into the bulb for that year. I've just seen this jasmine. I've never seen this jasmine before. I've lived here for 2.5 years. It's gorgeous. So that brings me on to what I will be Chelsea chopping and what I will be deadheading. I'm honestly most excited about Chelsea chopping this catmint. The bees absolutely love it, so I am going to be taking some food away from them for a short amount of time. But another benefit of doing a Chelsea chop at this time of year is that the bees and other bugs actually get food a bit later in the year. As it gets hotter in the summer in the UK, the plants do stop flowering as much, so by Chelsea chopping and deadheading, it means that bugs get more food throughout the summer than they would do normally. Hello matey, have you come for some catmint? Get in the chop. It is.
Is that catmint there?
Yeah.
Is it?
Do you want it as flowers?
You know what? Not as flowers, but sure, to put it in a bowl for her.
Henning loves the non-flowering bits.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
I just chuck it on the floor and Hen goes mad.
Yeah? All right. Ziggy, very lucky day. You don't realize how lucky a cat you are.
No, she really does. None of them do they?
Oh.
Okay, done. It looks ugly, I know, but in a couple of weeks it will look more glorious than it ever did because of this big chop back. Just gotta have a bit of faith. Alright, just going to show you a bit of deadheading now because it's a little bit more precise than the Chelsea chop. Of course, the first rows I've come to doesn't seem to have that many that are going over, but this one is pretty much ready to go. So what I'm going to do is take off the entire of the flower head. I'm going to trace it down to a node, and in fact this one looks like it's about going to have something grow from it, so I'm going to choose this one. So all of the flower, the stem, and just above a node. So you don't have to take it that far down. If I was doing this one here, you could even do it here or here. Just be aware there's another bud there, but just on that occasion, where are we? Because we had this bud here, that's why I went for that. I also mentioned that some of these roses have got black spot, and you can see it here. Oh, there's a cool, like, random ladybug. But this is actually a fungal infection, so the best thing to do is to chop them off, and people say burn it. But I'm just going to put it in my bin. But if you had a compost heap at home, you don't put this in because it can then spread. There's some cool little bugs in here too. I don't know what they are. This is where we are at the end of day one. I actually don't like how it looks straight after tidying. Hello, Winter. There's so many cats around here. But it actually doesn't look too bad. Quite pleased with it. So, over the next few days... Hello, Marcel. I am definitely going to tackle that wisteria, but I think I need just a slightly less windy day than today. So I will catch up with you when I do my wisteria. Quick side note, I know I shouldn't be giving away free feet on the internet, but I don't know why I always wear these hydro mocks to do my gardening in, because my feet are filthy. Inside the shoes is filthy. Why? Hello, It's Saturday morning and we are back to chop the wisteria. Big old job. First up, just a quick little fit check. I've got my glamorous painting shorts on. Then I've got my old Eden Project painting t-shirt. I've got my hydro mocks on. Again, don't know why, they're going to get full of muck. And also special shout out to the heatless curls that I've just taken out that have just gone wild. Hopefully they calm down a bit by the time my friends get here later. Before we start with the wisteria, I just want to show you one of my tree lilies in the back garden, which has officially grown taller than me this year. And the lilies haven't even come out yet, so it might even get taller still. With wisteria, you are supposed to prune it twice a year. Straight after it's bloomed, give it a really hard chop back, and then maybe in January, before the buds start forming, give it a more gentle chop back. Full disclosure, I don't do that. I find this my least favourite job in gardening. It's, as you can see, it's huge. It's such hard work. So I tend to do the one hard chop straight after flowering. I leave it in January and I still get an amazing display. So I'm not going to start doing it in January anytime soon. The official line when pruning your wisteria is to find the whippy bits. And yeah, I think that's the technical term, the whippy bits. As you can see, there is loads hanging down here. And then what you do, you follow the nodes all the way along until you are, I think it is 3 to 5 from the end. And then you chop just after a node, so say here. It all starts well, but then when you have this much wisteria to chop, you end up just chopping as and where. But to be honest, like I say, I give it a really quite hard chop back, so I am not too concerned about not getting exactly 3 to 5. First step is just to get as much of it down as I can, see where we're at, and then just start chopping. I start with the best intentions, following the whippy bits along and finding those 3 to 5 nodes, but that will soon get quite tiring, so you will soon see me just start to chop, which is fine. Works out fine for me anyway. Oh, something that is not exactly conventional, but I said I would do last year, is to chop some of the brown wood. I think eventually the brown wood will start shooting from some nodes, but generally don't tend to chop that. But what I find is it's just coming along all the way here. But there's a part of the wisteria that I really love how it looks. And I think if I chop some of the brown wood back, it will start looking a bit more like that rather than just long ropes of wood. Hey little buddy, are we on a mission? Okay, that's side one done, and that wasn't bad at all. After all my complaining, I feel like I am traumatised after the first year that I had to do it and it hadn't been pruned for years. So yeah, really pleased with that. And here's some of the brown wood that I said I don't normally take off, but I have done this year because it's these little short bits that actually look the most stunning when they're flowering. There's almost like a cascade of flowers that come down from them. So hopefully I will get that a little bit further along with all that brown wood off. All that complaining and it wasn't that bad at all. What's that phrase about something always seeming impossible till it's done? I think that's normally about childbirth and climbing mountains and stuff, but we will take it for pruning wisteria this time, eh? Just have to do all the tidying now. I said earlier, I didn't really like how this all looked when it's freshly pruned, but this really doesn't look that bad. It looks nice and natural this time. Really pleased with it. So that is my wisteria done for this year. If you spot any extra whippy bits on the video, please keep it to yourself because I am not touching it again until next year. I guess we'll find out in March, April next year just how effective this pruning was, whether I did the right thing chopping back the brown bits. But that's actually one of my favourite things about gardening. I am a very impatient person by nature, but gardening forces me to be patient. Like, there is literally nothing I can do to extradite my wisteria flowers, right? So I just have to wait. And it's all a learning curve as well. I firmly believe that there's no real right or wrong in gardening. I think I've said before that people on my street really love this wisteria, and I feel like they think it's their own. And I've had a lady coming past before who said, you have to be very careful chopping wisteria, you know, and I was like, do you? And then I had the most amazing blooms. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've learned a little bit today about summer pruning and enjoyed seeing the process. So please do like this video if you've enjoyed it, and do make sure to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time.